Right, so for today's video, we have an update on a situation that we have spoke about a couple of times at this point. And so far, it's all been surrounding this TikToker right here called Nina's World. Now, Nina has uploaded a number of videos talking about the fact that she hasn't been paid for work that she had done for Flamingo Lounge, which is their hair salon. Now, the work in particular was a mural that she painted outside the store. We can see it right here. This is only part of the work that Nina done. This is kind of like the main job. She also worked on the sign, she worked on the interior and whatnot as well, and she was supposed to be getting paid around $5,000. Now, the reason these videos have been uploaded is because Nina is saying that she hasn't been paid by the owner, Jess. This even went to court. Originally, they sided with Nina. Jess then responded with proof that Nina says isn't true, and the judge decided to side with Jess after that. And one thing that we've been hearing throughout this whole situation is that Nina isn't the only person, right? Nina even said in her video there's 15 other people that are affected by this. Not specifically the mural, but just affected in terms of not getting paid for their work from Flamingo Lounge. And it actually got to the point that in the last video, we spoke about the fact that this store has actually been tagged, right? We saw this picture right here where someone has actually spray painted on the wall saying, "It's giving exploitation, pay your artists." And this is actually Jess in the corner, the owner, seeing this on the wall, and this ended up having to get painted over. Now, another thing we spoke about in the last video was that there was another TikToker who was talking about her experience with Flamingo Lounge, like specifically working with Flamingo Lounge, and this is Finn, also known as the punk stylist on TikTok. Now, at the time, the only video that Finn had uploaded was basically saying like, I have a story that I want to tell on video. Would people be interested in hearing that? And all the comments were people basically saying like, yes, we want to hear what happened. Now, since that video, Finn has actually uploaded two pretty lengthy videos going into more detail on what has actually happened here. So far, we've heard Nina's experience where she's went into a lot of detail about everything. We've seen like reviews of people talk about stuff that is similar, but now we're actually seeing another TikToker telling her side of the story, and we can see if the story sounds similar and it might strengthen your opinions or change your opinions. Now, Finn starts off the first video by saying that she worked there for a couple of months, I believed as the store kind of just opened, and they'd spoke about money, how it was going to work. Finn was going to get like the overflow clients from Jess because apparently there's a load of clients, and they were going to make a bunch of money.
Yeah, so I worked at Flamingo Lounge for 2 months, July 2024 through September 2024. When I started there, she told me that I was going to be her right-hand person, that I was gonna get all of her overflow clients, which she said there was like so many. She straight up said, we're gonna make so much money.
And Finn even goes on to make a joke later about this, like, you know, we're gonna make so much money, and says, oh, little did I know, we were gonna make a bunch of money for Jess in particular. Now, getting into how, like, the money actually worked, Finn goes on to say that she was gonna be getting 50% commission on all of her clients, but because this was a new store, the pay was a bit weird, right? A lot of the pay was actually under the table. They hadn't got the whole payrolls, like, system set up yet.
We had an agreement of 50% commission. I filled out like payroll information when I first started so I could get like direct deposit and everything, which is like pretty standard. And for the entire 2 months that I worked there, I was getting paid under the table the entire time. But every time she would send me money through like Venmo or something, she would tell me some bullshit about how, oh, payroll's just like taking so long to process, but like, you know, I'm working on it. This is gonna be the last time I Venmo you. Next time it's gonna be like through payroll, blah, 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 blah.
Now, in the second video, we get into a lot more specifics of like how much money was paid, how much money is still owed, what Jess's response to all of it is. We do hear a bit of that in this video, but just to let you know, in the second video, we see it a lot more, right? We see more details. But as you just heard, there's already a lot of excuses as to why she's being paid under the table and why like the payroll hasn't been processed or whatnot. And it becomes pretty clear throughout this video as Finn is explaining it that from Finn's point of view, she wasn't getting paid enough. In fact, goes into more detail about how every time she was paid, it was like very random, like very sporadic payments, and they would always be like whole numbers.
Every time she would send me a payment, it would be like $300 flat or something. And she would send payments like really sporadically. Like, it's not like I was like getting paid like once a week or like once every 2 weeks or anything like that. It was just like kind of like randomly she would like send me some money. And I was pretty like broke at the time, I'm not gonna lie. And so just like any amount of money being sent to me, I was like grateful for, because okay, sick, $300, great, like, now I can go buy groceries and shit, you know? But I knew from the jump that I wasn't getting paid appropriately for the amount of, like, services I was doing.
Now, if I had to guess, there will be some comments, like, around this point kind of saying, like, why would she carry on working there if she wasn't getting paid the right amount? Finn does give a bit of a response to this, right, and says, like, she was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. She kept getting promised that it was going to be sorted, and she really hoped that it was.
I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I gave her so much grace, especially because, you know, we were just getting the place open, and, like, I didn't expect everything to be, like, all perfect right away. So when she was, like, sending me these kind of, like, sporadic payments, but with this promise of, like, oh, payroll's, like, you know, it's in the works, it's in the works. I guess I just, like, assumed that, you know, once all the payroll shit was, like, figured out, we would just, like, run it back and see, like, what services I had done and, like, how much I'd gotten paid already, and just, like, do the math, you know, do the difference.
Yeah, so throughout this video, Finn does actually, like, well, genuinely keep saying throughout the video, like, she feels stupid because of this. So I know, like I said, there will be comments from people saying, like, why would you carry on working there? And clearly, as we're watching this video, Finn realizes that she probably shouldn't have let Jess do this, right? Now, one thing that did come to mind when I was actually watching this video, and again, right, I do need to clarify, we still don't know 100% for sure, like, what has happened here, right? Because this has went to court twice now, as we will hear later, because Finn also took Jess to small claims court because of this. And both times with Nina and Finn, as we'll hear later, the judge has sided with Jess in the end. So, like I said, I don't want to say, like, for 100% certainty, like, what has happened here, because we just genuinely don't know. But let's just say, hypothetically, this is how it's all played out, right? If it did play out like this, I feel like I can see maybe potentially, like, what has happened here, because if Jess owes, like, a bunch of, like, employees and contractors or whoever else a bunch of money because, say, like, at the beginning she wasn't paying people the full amount, and there's 15 other employees, as we're hearing, like, from other videos, maybe the amount owed to people became so much that Jess couldn't pay it, and that is why we're in the situation now where people are owed money and they weren't paid. Again, that is just a complete assumption, right, based on the information that we have been told, but yeah, it's just something that came to mind. Which obviously, let me clarify, right? That doesn't make it okay by any means, right? I'm just saying what the thought process might be, you know? Now, at this point, Finn ends up quitting, right? And I believe, from what we're hearing, this might be around the time that a lot of the stylists and anyone who was working at Flamingo Lounge were also leaving. Because we do hear later on that Jess's response is kind of like blaming Finn in a way for, like, the walkout. And by walkout, I'm assuming it's like what we heard earlier in Nina's video, where a bunch of, like, employees left around the same time. But when Finn quit, she says that she realized very quickly, like, there's a good chance she might not get her money here.
And it wasn't until I quit 2 months later, for a whole bunch of other reasons, like, many reasons. I'm sure I will get into that in part 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. But when I did quit, I was like, fuck, I just have a feeling I'm not gonna get the money that I'm owed.
So at this point, Finn ends up screen recording, like, the booking app that they use so they can see, like, what clients she had, how much they were, and all that stuff. She also says in this video that she realized she was probably gonna get kicked out of, like, the booking app very quickly, so she made sure she screen recorded it so she had the information. And as you can imagine, Finn then starts working out how much she is owed, and she makes it very clear in this video, like, she didn't include anything that didn't actually counter how much she is owed.
I didn't include the bullshit taxes that she was charging my clients. I didn't include the, like, weird 10% service fee thing that she was, like, adding. Like, I just did 50% of the, like, work that I did, got that number, totaled up how much I had gotten paid, and, like, just looked at the difference, and I was like, holy shit. It was over $1,000.
Yeah, so Finn says it's over $1,000 here. Actually, when we get to the second video, it looks like, from what I can see from the spreadsheets, we do see it, it was actually over $2,000. I think the over $1,000 is how much is owed now, because as we'll hear, Jess did end up paying some of it back, but not all of it. But I do believe at the time of actually, like, first calculating how much it was a $2,100-ish. So Finn ends up emailing Jess. Jess then responds saying, like, could you please be patient?
But I thought, you know what, like, I'm not gonna assume, like, let me just send her an email with my very detailed, very clear, and easy to understand spreadsheet, and just show her, like, hey, this is what you still owe me. So I did that, and her first response to me was something along the lines of like, please be patient with me, like I am gonna pay you. I'm just dealing with a lot right now because of the walkout that you caused, blah, 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 blah. So she said, like, I'm gonna get you paid, you know?
But from what we're hearing, that didn't really happen because Jess did end up paying some amount. It wasn't the full amount, but then also sent a spreadsheet trying to, like, disprove Finn's spreadsheet.
And then she did send over a, like, Zelle payment or something. A Zelle payment for, like, a portion of what she owed me. And so then I sent her an updated spreadsheet taking away, you know, the amount that she had sent me. Okay, basically to like wrap up this part of the story, she then sent me a spreadsheet that she had made that it was bogus. It was completely bogus. That basically was supposed to disprove the spreadsheet that I had made and show that, like, actually we were totaled up.
And in the second video, we do actually get to see this, but Finn does end the video by saying that she's still owed over $1,500. So let's actually move on to the second video, right? So as we can see here, this is the spreadsheet that Finn ended up sending Jess with how much money she believed that she was owed. Now, there's a bunch of, like, transactions on here. Again, like, this is just information that we're seeing from Finn. It's impossible for us to really know, right? Because we don't know for 100% certainty that these are all Finn's clients and whatnot. So we can't say for 100% fact, right? But this is more information than we've seen, like, the majority of this situation, realistically, right? A lot of it has kind of just been, like, talking about the situation, which is something that people bring up a lot in the comments of these videos. But as we can see, Finn's totaled up like how much she is owed. And we can see here, remaining balance is like $2,100. It's very blurry on my screen. It might be better if we zoom it in, but I believe it's about $2,100. Okay, so I've zoomed it in a bit on my screen so I can see it better now, but we can also see like the payments received so far. And like Finn said, the majority of these are whole numbers, right? Like there's a lot of $200, $300, $200, $300. There is some more like slightly random ones, I guess. There's this one here, $767.75. That seems a lot more random, but the majority of these are definitely just like whole amounts, which if you were earning 50% commission for your work, you'd probably expect that it wouldn't really be whole amounts. Maybe it would, who knows? I just think once you add in like tips and stuff, surely it maybe wouldn't be, but yeah, that's obviously something Finn brought up earlier, and that does add up to what we're seeing here. Now, one thing Finn does bring up here is that the remaining balance where it says $2,175, that was before Jess had actually sent like an updated payment, which is around $600. So Finn says to this day, she's still owed about $1,500. And then we get to see Jess's response, which is a spreadsheet of her own, which it's quite funny, right? Because like the majority are just blank. Like, why are all these columns here? And as we heard earlier, this is apparently a spreadsheet that is supposed to like disprove Finn's spreadsheet, but there's a lot of like context missing here, right? Because we just got rows that say stuff like commissions earned from net sales, $8,784, but like that's all it says. There's no like separate transactions or anything like that. That's all we get. And then it kind of just goes away from talking about the amounts. Like all the amounts are pretty vague, right? There's no like specific transactions, but then it goes into stuff like, not to mention, we let you do so much free hair without even bothering you. Now Finn does have a response to this, which is basically saying like, this isn't even true, but even if that is true, right? So she's saying like, we let you do someone's hair for free without bothering you. I don't really get why that's mentioned here, because if you've let her do it for free, then why is it mentioned in how much money is owed? Like, I don't really understand it. Like, you can't say, like, oh, we let you do this for free, so we're not going to pay you the right amount. Like, it was for free, right? But either way, Finn does respond to this claim.
That's literally not true. That's literally not true. I don't even know what she's talking. Like, anytime that I did, like, some like a model or something that like they weren't paying me, I was using all my own color, wasn't using any of her products, and also got like confirmation before doing those services to make sure like it was okay with her.
Now this is where we start hearing about small claims court again, right? So Nina took Jess to court. Overall, we heard that the judge actually sided with Jess. Now in Finn's video, we also hear that Finn took Jess to small claims court.
I did take her to court. I took her to small claims court. I presented all of the evidence. I had screenshots of every single client I serviced there, and I had screenshots of every single payment that I received from her, which should have been a very cut and dry case. But Jess included in her evidence like doubles of each payment that she sent me. Like, she included like multiples of each payment that she sent me to make it look like she had given me more than she had. And somehow the judge bought it, I guess.
Okay, so this part of the story sounds very similar to Nina's, right? Because in Nina's video, when she's talking about how the judge sided with Jess, she was saying like Jess showed like proof of transactions that had nothing to do with the work that she was actually trying like to sue her over. And then from Finn's story, we're hearing something very similar, it seems. Now, Finn does actually clarify it in the comments of this video because people are asking that it was a different judge to Nina's, right? So it wasn't the same judge. But as we're hearing here, 2 judges sided with Jess, and it would be interesting to hear what Jess's response to all of this is, right? And I feel like we're never going to get one. She's turned all the comments off on social medias and clearly wants absolutely nothing to do with this and doesn't want to address it. But yeah, we are hearing that 2 judges sided with Jess, so it would be very interesting to hear like what like has actually happened here. Like, is it really that simple that you can just make up transactions and then win the case? Like, is that how it works? I can imagine small claims court won't be that in-depth compared to like a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, but still, you wouldn't think that would be able to happen, would you? And Finn goes on to say that because of the way the system works, she wasn't really able to like appeal it or respond.
When you're the one like filing a small claims case, you can't repeal it. So I could not repeal that decision. I just had to take it at face value and say okay.
And then finally, another part of Finn's story that sounds very similar to Nina's is that we hear that Jess apparently like filed a police report against Finn. And if you remember in Nina's video, she said that Jess tried to get a restraining order against Nina.
Allegedly, Jess filed a police report on me in retaliation, like just straight up in retaliation.
So yeah, that is everything that Finn has said publicly as I'm recording this video currently. A lot more information here. Obviously, it's a different situation, right? Because we're not talking about like an artist painting the mural outside. We're talking about someone who was working in the salon doing people's hair from the sound of it. And there is a lot of similarities as well, like with lack of payment. Also, like this police report stuff, going to court. Like there is a lot of similarities to Nina's story. And again, we still don't have a response from Flamingo Lounge. But either way, I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below, especially after seeing this video. Like I said, has it strengthened any of your opinions you had before? Has it changed any of your opinions that you had before? Please let me know in the comment section down below. Maybe we'll get more information about this at another point, who knows? But yeah, if you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, all that stuff. And until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, goodbye.